All right, what's up, everybody? How y'all feel out there? Frank Red on the In the Dungeon program. Another edition coming to you live on a Sunday night. And I remember I first started doing it. This is show 29. Pretty amazing when you think about it. But it's becoming more and more natural. If only you knew what happened before I actually went live. You'd be smiling and laughing. But that's media, that's radio, that's television. When that red light comes on, blue light, whatever it is, green light, you got to go. And the more you do this, the better you become. There's no doubt about that. And fortunately, I'm coming to you on a night where there's a lot to talk about. I would love to do a show every day, but when I look at where we are right now, unless you want to get into some of the messy stuff, which I don't, there's not a whole lot to talk about, but that's going to change in the next week or so. And we're going to touch on some things tonight. But one of the things that I like to do is I like to have a real honest conversation and dialogue with the listeners out there, right? And I want to ask you, what are some things that you are good at? And maybe what are some things that you're not good at? And, you know, when you look at yourself, you think you should be good at it, but you're not. It might be the simplest thing. I'm going to share some information with you tonight. I'm not great at using technology. I can do it. It's almost like, I mean, when you internalize some things that you're not very good at, you draw conclusions about yourself that are probably not true, right? And I had a monumental accomplishment today. I actually opened up a copier laser printer out of a box, a wireless model, pretty nice, black and white and color. But I had this thing in my house, not my house, my apartment, for about 3 weeks. And I was like, no, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to get frustrated. But I worked through it. I did, because I needed to get this thing done. And what I like to do when I'm doing a show, as opposed to reading off of a computer, and I got a couple of computers here, I like to have everything down on paper, right? And guess what? All of my notes, all of my pre-work, I did it. You would have thought I had won a washer and dryer on The Price is Right or something like that, right? That's how good I felt. And that's a real deal. And I wanted to introduce that because I wanted to talk a little bit about Trey Lance and where he is going, where he is headed at this point. Because at this point, it's nobody's fault, right? The 49ers are off the hook. They paid him. He's going to another organization. The Dallas Cowboys really don't owe him anything. It's really up to him to show that he wants to have an NFL career. And I'm going to tell you right now, it has very little to do with his talent, his physical ability. He's shown that he has the physical ability. It has more to do with whether or not he has a desire, because he's already been paid. He's made more money right now than many players will ever make in their entire careers. Did he get screwed by the 49ers a little bit? Yeah, he did. But I'm sure everybody listening to this show right now can speak to having some bad luck or getting screwed on a job. I mean, it happens, right? The reality is he was there for 3 years among a coaching staff that was excellent, other players that had high expectations, and it's really up to him at this point. Now, tonight, for a little while, I don't know how long, but we're going to be joined by a good friend of mine, Dan Coach Amelia, and we're going to talk about what's going on with the 49ers, the world of sports. He covers the Giants like nobody on the internet, as far as I'm concerned. But before I do that, I want to say what's up to the people who supported me for so long now. I want to say what's up. Mark Graves, I appreciate you, brother. SG, thank you. I appreciate you. Romo, what's up, my guy? And with that said, I'm going to bring in the coach. How you doing, Coach?
Hey, good, Frank. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. You know, we were having some...
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, my pleasure. We were getting lost in translation a little bit last couple of times because I would hear stuff. Yo, he wants to come on, and once the show starts, how you going to send the link and all that stuff?
I understand. Crazy. Hey, I just need you to come over and hook me up with the printers, man. I have problems too with printers.
Listen, man. I mean, listen. Like I said, you would have thought that. I mean, I won a small lottery or something because that is not my deal. They make it seem so easy on television and look at this little video and stuff like that. And then you see like an 8-year-old do it in like 3 minutes. You're like, yo, come hook my printer up. No problem, Grandpa. You know,
yeah.
Like, it's crazy, man. But
yeah,
I felt really proud of myself because I went to YouTube, watched a couple of videos, had to stop it a couple of times, but eventually I got it, man. And that was just like a real sense of accomplishment for me because, you know, like a lot of people, I'm fortunate to know how I learn, right? And I am a visual learner and I learn via practice. And yeah. It's very related to sports in this sense. Some players are very analytical. They can take their playbook to their room and know all of the right spots, know everything to do, know all the procedures, and they get out on the field or the court and they can't get it done.
Yeah, I'm the exact. I had to do it on the field.
Yeah, so you know, a lot of times when we're talking about players like Trey Lance, it's clear to me that he's more of a visual, kinesthetic learner as opposed to an analytical guy. And you know, I talk about that because I think a lot of times people don't think about that. They just go, no, the guy sucks. No, he doesn't. It's going to take him a little more time. So, and even the guy with the Tennessee Titans, the kid Willis, they drafted out of
Malik Willis out of
HBCU.
Yeah, was that Liberty, right?
Right, no, Liberty.
Yeah,
right. Now they drafted him last year, right? And there were high hopes. They drafted him, I believe, in like the second or third round.
Correct.
And he got an opportunity to get on the field, and he didn't do very well. So what did they do? They go out and they draft Will Levis, you know, hotshot quarterback out of Kentucky with a big arm. He gets injured. Willis gets back on the field this year, and he's clearly better, you know, after learning for a year. Now, for those people that thought that he wasn't going to make it, now they're looking at him a little differently because he's had an opportunity to get some reps, to get some field time. And, you know, it looks like he's going to be a solid backup at least. I don't know to what extent he's going to go from there. But again, it goes back to opportunity and how you learn and honing in onto that, because Trey Lance might not get the nurturing that he needs in Dallas. The onus is going to be on him to do whatever he needs to do to get his game together.
Exactly. He's definitely got the talent. He's just needs the reps like anybody, you know, you get better with reps. Hey, look, I've been doing this stuff for over a year now. Started out with Larry. I'd like to think, you know, I'm a lot more comfortable and come across a little bit better than I did when I first started. Absolutely. Just like anything, you know, it takes a lot of reps and people to get that. The more you do it, the more you feel comfortable, you get confident. It's you know, it's like riding a bike. First time we all got in a bike, how long did it take before we learn to stay upright, you know? Right. Once you start, now you get on a bike and it's like, hey, it's like second nature. Same thing with the QB position or any other position, you know. If you don't get the reps, you can watch all you want.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a great point.
Until you actually get out there and start doing it, and, you know, you gotta fall first before you can stand up.
Right. But again, being a coach and being an athlete myself, that internal motivation is what moves you forward ultimately. And I don't care if it's you being motivated because people doubt you, or you have a burning desire to be the best that you can be. But at some point, that has to be your guiding force, because and I know, better than me, I'm sure. You remember when you were, like before you started working, and you said to yourself, man, I hope I can make $50,000 one year. I hope I can make 60,000, 70, 80, 90, whatever your number is. When you get to that number, at some point, you're no longer motivated by that number. Right. It becomes routine, and it has to be about the job or the task that you're doing to move you forward. And I think that's something that many professional athletes show that they have, and some don't. And I think
some don't. Yeah, I think a lot of guys, Frank, that don't make it, it's not because of talent, it's because of right there. Do they have the internal drive? I mean, we look at a guy, and it's not based on just whether the guy's a nice guy or not, because most of the athletes are pretty nice people, and they, but you look at Steph Curry, and you say, he's a nice guy. That guy's a stone cold killer, man. On the court,
like no other.
You don't mess, and that's what I wonder. I see when I watched the 49ers early on. I think it was, I can't remember what year it was when they drafted Dante Pettis, but I thought to myself, super talented. But I remember reading about him, and he said he had a lot of interest in the arts and stuff like that. And I was just thinking, it didn't seem like to me like he had that killer instinct, what it takes to be, a all-pro type player. Can he survive in the league? Yeah, because he's got great talent. But is he going to go to that next level? I didn't see it. I wonder if Trey has that mindset. He's such a nice guy. I mean, such a nice guy, to the point where I heard Larry talking earlier tonight that after the drills, he was out there helping the crew pick up the cones and stuff like, that doesn't have the big ego, just super nice, great kid. And a lot of times those guys, they got to get knocked down a lot before they get that killer, instinct in them.
Or they never do. I mean, like, maybe he should, I'm being facetious, but I'm like, maybe he should work for like a nonprofit to help his community or something, because, hey, I hate when people say, oh, he's such a nice guy. Know why? Because it doesn't matter. It does not matter. This is professional sports. This is a cutthroat business.
Very.
And organizations are ultimately going to do what's best for them. And that's why, like, I really don't like to see Kyle Shanahan in front of a mic doing pressers, because it's I'm like, he's the antithesis of Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, sometimes he has like some sayings and they sound good, almost Shakespearean, to a certain degree. And a lot of times you're like, yeah, I get it. And sometimes you're like, no, I don't. But you never get the sense that he's not telling you his truth. And Kyle Shanahan he's totally different. Think about what Kyle Shanahan said. He said, remember when he said that Trey was going to be the number 3, he said, well, my number 2 could be different from week to week depending upon who we play.
Right.
And then the next day they trade him. I mean, it's just like, so from a player's perspective, you're not always going to like what your coach tells you, right? Or the general manager, the owner, whomever. But I think part of that relationship and that development has a lot to do with whether or not people trust each other. And I don't understand why Kyle Shanahan isn't more forthright. I don't even think he needs to tell everybody something. He just needs to make a statement that is believable. Oh, he don't say nothing. Belichick just kind of, he handles the press like nobody we've ever seen before.
Right. I think sometimes you're better off just not saying anything versus saying stuff that comes across as disingenuous,
Yeah.
Because it seems to me that Trey just felt like, hey, I'm not really wanted here. And I just, the fact that they're saying, well, we want you as a third string, I feel like they didn't want him here, and he felt it, and he was just like, I want out of here, And the way they did it, it didn't seem like to me, I understand as a player, a lot of things happen in practice, and a lot of times you earn your playing time in practice. But there are some guys that perform better in game situations than they do in practice. They just rise to the occasion. I would have loved to seen it played out on the field. The other night, Friday night, let Trey get his time before you commit to who's number 2 and number 3. But Kyle said it was pretty obvious, and maybe it was. Maybe the other players saw it too. I don't know.
I don't believe that. That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Hey, listen, in the game against Denver, did Sam Darnold play well? Yeah, he played pretty well. And here's the thing. The one pass that he has thrown extremely well from the inception of his career is the go route.
Right.
He's always thrown that pass well because he's accurate and he has some space, right?
Yeah.
But there are many other passes that quarterbacks have to throw that he doesn't throw very well. Now, Trey Lance, when you consider the moment, the way he rallied the team back, it was close between how well Sam played versus Trey. But in my opinion, Cal Shanahan didn't want that smoke for that last game.
That's what I say too. I do too. He didn't want that because let it play out on the field. I don't think he wanted Trey to come out and outshine Sam, and then it's like, oh crap, we promised. I think they cut a deal for Sam. I totally agree with you. I think they cut a deal for Sam when they signed him. Hey, you're gonna be the second team. You'll have a shot at competing for the number 1.
Now, if you're the player, if you're Trey, and everybody, the media, content creators at practice, and to their credit, there's a lot of people who cover this team on a day-to-day basis who had Trey's back, who said, yo, this kid is getting better. He can play. And then you had a chorus that was like, this guy sucks. So Trey is hearing all this information, and he's getting on the field, finally starting to show some promise, and the head coach pulls the ripcord from him. I mean, how do you feel? You feel horrible at that point. You feel like, you know what? This is not a fair fight.
Right. Yeah.
And I didn't like that. That's the one thing I didn't like. But I mean, we've all had to deal with adversity in our lives. So I have empathy for Trey, but at the same time, the onus is on him at this point to go to Dallas, soak up the knowledge. And it doesn't even matter if he's second string or third string. What he needs to do is play well when he gets his opportunity. And he will get an opportunity. That's really what it's all about. It really is.
Right.
So,
I had a question for you because I know you know the NBA as well as anybody.
Yes.
What do you think the Warriors are going to do with that? They got 2 spots. I think they'll fill it with 1, the 14th. I think they'll leave the 15th open, but I'm hearing JaVale McGee and gosh, I just drew a blank all of a sudden.
Giles?
Well, there's Giles was another, but
Blake
Griffin. I don't want to see Blake. I'd rather see JaVale over Blake Griffin. I think JaVale can actually help. I don't see Blake Griffin doing anything for the Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because Blake Griffin had the look of a guy who was done because he could no longer do the athletic stuff. But the reports that we've gotten from the teams that he's been on has been that he's been a pretty good journeyman. So, and he's played relatively well when he's got the opportunity. So, like, if I looked at that unemotionally, I could see how he might be a fit because I don't think the contract's going to be guaranteed. JaVale, I was shocked that he didn't find more playing time in Dallas. I'm still puzzled by that. And Juan Toscano-Anderson is just somebody who I like. He's somebody who I know. Yeah. So I would love to see him get that opportunity. So, you know, and if Juan is there, that means that Jackson Davis is probably going to get an opportunity. See, I don't want some veteran guy who is marginally better or not feeling that he should play, and maybe Steve Kerr has more of a reason not to play a young guy who could eventually help him. So it's going to be interesting in terms of what they decide to do.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? Well, you already said what you feel.
I like JaVale just because I think it gives him a different look. If Looney's obviously, you know, spell Looney some minutes, but it gives you he's really good at setting screens, right, good at the pick and roll, becomes a lob threat, which they don't really have, and a rim protector, you know.
How old is he now, though?
He's got to be close to 35, 36, isn't he?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like, a lot of times, I remember when James Worthy turned about 33 or 34, and everybody goes through the aging process differently, right? And all of a sudden, James Worthy, hello, Vicky, how are you? All of a sudden, James Worthy, after like having like a 10-year rock solid career, in year like 13 or 14, where players are adjusting to their maturation period, he didn't have it anymore. So, you know, my point is, I don't know if JaVale can still play. I hope that he can, but we don't know. We're not there in practice every day. I really don't. He's still 7'1", you know.
I mean, but Giles, I saw his workout look good. I mean, you know, but that's, you know, playing against, you know, space.
Right. Yeah. You know what? Like I talked about the mental aspects of sports. He was a guy who out of high school was rated higher than Tatum and all of those guys. And I just think that's like the mental component of professional sports got to him. He was really, really emotional, and you get excited off of simple foul calls and stuff like that. And he had some injuries as well. But literally 4 or 5 years after that, he was out of the league.
Right.
So, you know, it'll be interesting. In the meantime, Steve Kerr is over
Manila.
Yeah, in the Philippines.
Yeah.
You know, your stopping grounds.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was going to talk about it tonight. A potential USA versus Canada game is going to be tough. Even Germany, I mean, Germany's scratching their heads thinking, how the hell did we lose that game? It was thrilling. They were down. They were up 18 points.
Yeah.
And from a fan's perspective, it was thrilling, you know, to watch our guys come back like that. But from Germany's standpoint, they have to feel that one get away.
Yeah. What do they play today or over there? It's 1 in the afternoon Monday. I think they play again.
Play at 5:30 in the morning tonight.
Okay. Yeah. So.
Yeah. California time.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe, I mean, I get up at 6 o'clock anyway, so maybe I'll catch a little bit of that. But yeah, I'm gonna ask a question that I probably should know, but I know you know. Did the Giants win or lose today?
They won.
Awesome.
Won. They played one of their better games of the year.
Awesome. That's great, man.
They beat Atlanta, and they actually look good doing it. It's been a hard year. I've been really kind of hard on them because, I haven't liked the direction of playing all these older guys that are kind of average at best players. I'd rather play, the young guys and let them develop together and grow together and then become more like Baltimore's is right now, or
Right.
Houston was years ago. I don't think the Giants, the way they're approaching it, they might make it into the playoffs, but I don't see them going anywhere.
Right.
But I understand also their point of view. They want to get in, and anything can happen when you get into baseball playoffs. It's not like the NBA or NFL, where usually, the best teams in the NFL or NBA, it's usually the top 1 to 3 teams. Top 1 to 3 teams win. In baseball, you could be the 12th seed and still get to the World Series.
Yeah, and at the same time, from a manager's perspective, from a general manager's perspective, these guys are fighting for their jobs. So, if you look at the long view, that's probably going to have an effect on how many games they win. And for a diehard fan like yourself, who's really on top of things, you're looking at it saying, wait a minute, this is not how we're going to reach our ultimate goal. In spite of winning, 3 World Series championships over the past decade, you want more. But from their standpoint, they're trying to get another extension,
Yeah, their ultimate goal exactly is the contract. Yeah, keeping their job. So, hey, I'm really been enjoying your show. I appreciate you inviting me on. I didn't have much time tonight. I'm going to let you finish up, but I want to have you come on. Welcome to come on this week if you like. We'll be on tomorrow night about 9:30ish.
Okay.
If you want to come on.
Yeah. Send me the invite.
I'll send you the invite. We'll be covering the post game of the Giants Cincinnati with Romo, myself, and maybe 1 or 2 other guys if they're on. But I'll send you the invite in the link tomorrow. I'll send it to you.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Awesome. Hey, thanks. Hey, everybody, subscribe. Hit that like button too for Frank's show. Are you close to 100? You got to be really getting close now, right?
Getting close. I got 90.
90. Awesome. You'll be there soon.
Yeah, man. 90 subscribers.
We'll see if
I'm so proud.
We'll see if we can send you over the top tomorrow. Hopefully, we can have 100 in the chat tomorrow night. We'll get you some people.
Love
so
it.
yeah, we'll have you join us tomorrow night.
All right. Take care, my friend.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Frank.
Bye-bye. Good night. Bye. That is the coach. Dan Coach Amelia stepping in the dungeon. And I appreciate everybody for letting the coach and I catch up. We haven't really talked since the basketball season. We were hot and heavy on Larry Kruger's show, the Krug Show. And pretty amazing, really is, when you consider where that show started to what it became and what it is now. You thought that the Warriors audience was big. The Krug Show is a phenomenon at this point. And fortunately, we took a risk to build our own show and invite anybody who else wanted to step in. And I just love the process of starting, literally from the bottom and just building from there, just building these audiences, man. It's really cool. PK, what's up, my brother? I want to thank you. Hopefully you are my brother. Maybe you're my sister. I don't know. I'm Frank Red, everybody. This is In the Dungeon program. Like Coach Dan said, if you have not subscribed to the program and you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button. We are en route to 100 subscribers. Last time I checked, we had 90. All right. And we're talking about a lot of different things tonight. What's up, MF? How you doing? We touched on the 49ers. We touched on the Giants. USA basketball plays early this morning. I don't know if you guys have time to check that out, but they will be playing. What's weird to me is the Nick Bosa contract talks don't appear to be speeding up now that Trey is off to Dallas. I found that a bit strange. And I actually thought about that because, for once, the little guy won. Josh Jacobs, the star running back of the Raiders who led the NFL in rushing, he missed the training camp. He didn't show up to camp because he was tagged. And ultimately, the Raiders gave him a little bit more money. He got $12 million on his tag. And let's not sneeze at $12 million. I mean, $12 million is a significant amount of money. No, it's not 16, but let's not count other people's money. Josh Jacobs is going to get $12 million. If he goes out and he plays really well, then he'll probably make another 12 next year, 12 or 13 next year. So I'm happy he didn't get injured, because so many players, unfortunately, put themselves in harm's way doing practice sessions or doing preseason games, and they wreck their entire season. So it hasn't been major injuries this year. You know, there've been some, but does it really matter that Nick Bosa didn't play in the preseason? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to miss game 1, because the 49ers going to Pittsburgh, it's going to be a tough game. You know, it really is. So the Giants won today, as my man Dan said, and I said that because he was talking about Ned Coletti here in the chat. All right. Jonathan Taylor, the running back of the Indianapolis Colts, Irsay, the owner of the Colts, kind of stepped out there and said, listen, you got 48 hours to make a deal happen. I didn't think that was real. I mean, why would you trade somebody like that? Why would you let somebody else get your star running back who's 24 under a pretty small cap number? That didn't make any sense to me. I think he was just trying to, maybe appease Jonathan Taylor and his agent. I don't think he's going anywhere, personally. I really don't. A question that I have for the audience is, who in the NFL do you think is going to do well, and who might slip up a little bit that we expect to be good? A lot of people are pointing towards Buffalo as that team that, the window's not closed, but some people think they're going to take a step back this year. I have reservations about chemistry. I really do. I don't think that, you walk back some of the things that have happened in the offseason and expect that not to have an effect on the team. So that'll be interesting. They certainly have the talent. But Pittsburgh, I think, is going to be an interesting team. Pittsburgh's defense is definitely going to be rock solid. And offensively, if Pickett can continue to show the promise that he showed going back to last year and in the preseason, Pittsburgh's going to be tough, no doubt about it. Brian Iglesias, what's up, my brother? Thank you, man. I appreciate your support. Stepping in the dungeon, it's all good, man. MF, what's up? Yeah, so who do you guys think is going to flash? I actually think Houston is going to be decent. Not that they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to be okay. I had some reservations about how good CJ would be right away. But he throws a nice ball. So Houston actually looks pretty good to me. Love Bryce Young. I think the Carolina Panthers will be competitive. But the best team in that division to me appears to be New Orleans. I mean, their balance between offense and defense, I think, is rock solid. Derek Carr, I think, is going to take a step up. Derek Carr looks like he is doing what I said Trey should do. Because you can go, woe is me, Derek Carr. Yeah, my Raiders were my favorite team, and I wanted to be a Raider for life and all that good stuff. And then you got information coming out about how, the fans used to, dog his wife out in the stands, and the Raiders acted like they didn't want him. So, to see him go down to New Orleans and instantly become a leader and a better football player, I think that bodes well for him, and it bodes well for that team, no doubt. My man Brian says, let's be honest about Lance. He wasn't good enough, and the 49ers didn't have to try to develop him in their Super Bowl window. No one can argue against that. And it's a good narrative. I would say this, though, Ryan. If the 49ers were in a situation like they were in last year, where just miraculously they started losing quarterbacks. Purdy gets hurt. Sam Darnold gets hurt. And Trey Lance is your number 3. Would they have any less expectations about winning games? Maybe the prospects for winning the Super Bowl might not be as high. But I guarantee you, if Trey Lance was starting as a quarterback of the 49ers, they would expect to win most of their games. So circumstance, I think, sometimes prevails. And in a perfect world, no. They didn't want to take the time to develop him. Otherwise, he would have been the number 2. Because I think that he clearly has a higher upside than Sam Darnold. But things as they are, I think that you're right. I think they was like, you know what? We've gone through this before. We've given enough time. He hasn't been on the field. We're going to move forward. And I get that. But when you have a mentality like a John Lynch and a Kyle Shanahan and all of the great players that they have on that team, the future is always now. And the expectations for winning never changes. Kyle Shanahan's last press conference was the first time that I've ever heard him even consider the thought of adjusting his game plan to fit Trey. He said that. I was like, wow, I've never heard him say that before. So after year 1, Kyle was thinking about tinkering with his offense to put Trey in a better position. And then Trey got hurt. But I didn't know that was a reality. My assumption was that, Shanahan had his offense, Trey didn't fit into it very well, and Purdy was perfect for it. And for the first time, he's opened up that possibility of being more flexible than I ever thought that he was going to be. So I got to give him some props for that. I really do. And even Kyle saying that he felt that he failed Trey. I had never heard that from him either. And, while I don't think he always tells the truth, I do think that he was truthful in that last press conference. And that gave me more respect for him and more empathy, because that was a big statement. It says that I take some accountability for what has transpired. So, Mark Gray says, the Steelers will be well coached and ready to play. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I truly believe that if Lance didn't get hurt last year, he would have been benched after 5 games. It just didn't seem like a good overall fit. Yeah, you might be right. I don't know. I'll say this. The only way that you get better is by playing. And we talked about the kid Willis on the Tennessee Titans. Now, everybody here follows football, right? When they drafted him out of Liberty last year, I believe in the 2nd or the 3rd round, coming off the draft camps, there was a lot of momentum about him. And when he got on the field, he struggled, right? So what did they do? They went out and drafted Will Levis, the big arm quarterback out of Kentucky, right? And Willis, because Levis, I think, has been dinged up a little bit, Willis has actually looked pretty good, because he's gotten the reps. Now, if you're totally convinced that Trey just doesn't have the touch, he's not that good, I dig it. I look at him and I think he does have the talent to be a decent quarterback. He doesn't look like he's ever going to be that accurate to me. But, if you can complete 62 to 65% of your passes, then I think you got a shot. Now you might be saying, Red, you're dreaming. He's never going to complete 62% of his passes. I don't know. I think it depends on the offense. He's not going to do it just as a standard drop back quarterback. I think as a play action quarterback with maybe as many run options as passes, I think he could prosper. But you're probably right. In this San Francisco new age offense that Shanahan has nurtured and built since he's probably a kid playing quarterback in his backyard, it probably was going to happen in San Francisco. So, welcome your thoughts, everybody. This is in the Dungeon program. If you have any thoughts about anything else, all things the NFL, we can talk about that as well. The one thing I got to say about, and I've been surprised, it's only preseason, but I got to give Josh McDaniels, the Raiders have looked pretty sharp in the preseason, and I wasn't ready for that. I really wasn't. But they've been decent. That can change in an instance. Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't played a whole lot. We really don't know what that's going to look like when the season starts. But I got to give him credit. All of the ridiculous penalties that it doesn't matter if it's the first string or second or third string person making, they've done a pretty good job. So we'll see. Raider fans out there might be excited about their team because Kansas City is that team, but Denver doesn't scare you, obviously, and San Diego doesn't scare you. All of those teams, with the exception of KC, are probably going to be around, 8 to 10 wins? I think someone else is going to be coaching San Diego next year. It wouldn't surprise me if it's Harbaugh or somebody else. That is a great job, That's one of the best jobs in football. It really is. It'd be even better if they moved back to San Diego, but that's not going to happen. So that would be my wish. I also want to talk about, this is something sneaky, big news. Are you guys aware that Jaylen Brown played in the Big 3 All-Star game over in London? That was crazy. And the reason why it was such a big deal is because Ice Cube and the Big 3 needed a shot in the arm. And Cube has been talking pretty publicly on radio shows, podcasts, about how basically the NBA is not playing nice, and, they're actually doing things to stunt the Big 3's growth. And that was too bad. So I think it was more than Jaylen Brown just needing a run. I think he wanted to step out there and say to all of his, his peers, listen, if we get behind this could be really, really big. And when you look at it, think about it. Minus the 2 minutes at All-Star Weekend, does the NBA really do anything for their veteran guys who are like maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years out of the league? So the Big 3 actually fulfilled the void. The only thing the Big 3 did wrong was they thought of it and not the NBA. And they didn't go knock on the NBA's door first to say, listen, we got a brilliant idea. What do you think? Because that content in the right situation, presented in the right way, is awesome. And again, it connects the chain to that NBA lineage that I think is really, really important. And think about this. How many great players of the past played their tails off before the economic boom in the NBA really started to happen? So if you're Dr. J, if you're Nancy Lieberman, and you can make you an extra $50,000, $100,000 a year, Rick Mahorn, that's real money. I mean, for today's players, it's chump change. But think about these guys who are, and women who are literally trying to survive. The Big 3 has presented a really nice opportunity for them. And we all know that if the NBA put its might behind this league and partnered with Ice Cube and his folks, that thing could really, really blow up. And I'm not talking, but I don't think that they're interested in being partners. They want to be owners. But they didn't think of the idea. It was an idea that was crafted by somebody else, and I think that they didn't like that. And for Jaylen Brown to say, you know what, I see what's going on. I've gotten paid. Ain't nothing going to happen to me. I'm going to try to step out and bring awareness to something that I think is pretty cool. So be interesting to get your thoughts on that if you have any. But Ice Cube called Jaylen Brown. He said he's my hero right now. So I thought that was a pretty big deal. I also wanted to touch on the French. His name is Luis Rubiales, the president of the Spanish Football Federation. I mean, I'm kind of giggling because what he did, kissing one of the soccer players in the mouth, that's unfathomable. And what did he say? And I mean, people are resigning and quitting, trying to get this guy out of there. And then yesterday, the Spanish Federation said that he'll be suspended for 90 days, but it doesn't seem like they're going to outright get rid of that guy. I mean, can you imagine something like that happening in the United States? No way. No way. I mean, I know they kiss each other on both cheeks. I've seen that on TV. But, I mean, that kiss was pretty intense, man. I was like, and the woman seemingly was shocked. She was like, whoa, what's going on here? And he's been vehement that it was consensual. Consensual, excuse me. And I'm like, wow, man, it's crazy stuff. Now, she got some pictures on the internet, though. And that has nothing to do with this. But I just wonder if, I don't know, man. I just thought that was really, really strange. And the fact that he's not taking total accountability for it, to me, is unfortunate. But I don't know if you guys saw that. This weekend, they suspended him only for 90 days. They haven't gotten rid of him. He's like, I'm not leaving. He's like, I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, he kissed her in the mouth. But he's refused to quit. So I don't know if you guys had any feelings about that. Everybody was shocked by it. I also wanted to say this. Last couple of days, I went to the pharmacy, right? And this is with regards to helping people in Maui. A lot of times, from afar, we always want to help out. And, if we know an entity that we feel really comfortable with, then we move a little faster. But a lot of times, we just kind of like in no man's land. We don't know how to really help folks. One of the things that you can do, if you go to your local pharmacy, you can round up. Like if you pay for a particular prescription and I don't know if it's $10.25 or $18.10, whatever it is, you can round up and that money can go to presumably a respected entity to help the people over in Maui. It's not shameful to do that. Think about that. Even if it's $1, imagine if everybody gave $1. If 10% of the folks in this country gave $1, to help another state in need, that'd be a big deal. So that's something that I learned. I didn't know anything about that. They said, listen, you can round up if you want to. I did. I think it came out to about 75 cents. I'll be more than willing to give a hell of a lot more than that if I knew the proper entity that I could reach out to. So that's something that I found out about. I want to pass to you. I also said that about 2 months ago, I would say, I talked about movie stars. As you guys know, I'm a big movie guy. I'm going to put the movie out one more time. Shortcomings is an independent film that I like, all right? If you like independent films, you might want to check that one out. Randall Pack is the director, starred in Fresh Off the Boat on ABC. Check that out if you want to. But I said there were only 2 movie stars left in Hollywood. And I believe that. Tom Cruise and Denzel Washington. And Denzel's coming out with The Equalizer 3 this week. Unfortunately, my movie buddy friend is on another road trip. And, she's going to be away for a couple of weeks. So I'm not going to go see it for a couple of weeks. But it looks really, really good. If you like Denzel, if you like action, you might want to check that out because, he's one of a kind. No question about that. Mark Graves said he just saw Oppenheimer. Art, man. Art. I mean, talking about a tough subject to tackle. Christopher Nolan is just, he's unbelievable. What are your thoughts? I thought the movie was brilliant. Was really, really impressed with the details that they covered. And also I thought the casting was phenomenal. So many talented, everybody in that movie was great. Everybody was great. And one of the things I like about that production is it spoke to how everybody wanted to work with Nolan. Even bigger than telling this really, really important story, I think that they were in the film because they wanted to work with Nolan. And no matter how big their role was, no matter how small it was, they embraced it and they just rocked it. I mean, Matt Damon, he's synonymous with Good Will Hunting, his first movie. Actually, no, I think Platoon, I think Saving Private Ryan was his first movie. But the movie that he co-wrote was Good Will Hunting. He was phenomenal in that. But I think that he really came to prominence with all of the Jason Bourne movies. But he's had a lot of really good roles just as a solid character actor. So I respect Matt Damon. Matt Damon is willing to be a teammate. And Robert Downey Jr., again, in that role was outstanding. So get your comments up there, Martin. Excellent movie. Our government is a real piece of work. Yeah. SG saw it as well. He said Oppenheimer was a great movie. Yeah, I think the consensus is, there are going to be some Academy Award nominations coming out of that movie. No doubt about that. Yeah, man. Everybody was good. So, I'm frustrated because I don't think that they come out with as many good movies now. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff on streaming platforms and on television, but theater releases, I don't think that they do as good a job as they were doing maybe five years ago. And so Damien was good in the Mountainous, man. Yeah. Now, he's been good at a lot of stuff, man. He's just a brilliant, brilliant actor. And I think Matt Damon takes the craft seriously. I think his boy does too. I think Ben Affleck, Ben Affleck in the topsy-turvy, media-rich life that he's had, he is a phenomenal writer and director and a pretty darn good actor as well. So, and here's the thing about those two guys. They do a lot of stuff behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know about. That's really, really good. Like they did this, the series out of Boston. What's it called? It's called A City on the Hill. I guess I think it was on Showtime. That's really, really good. They're probably in season 4 coming up now. Yeah, A City on the Hill. And basically talks about the inner workings of the Boston government in the 1970s. And, that doesn't happen without Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. So I love movies, man. I'm a big, big movie guy. My man Romo said, so I can see this. Read the historical literature of the whole program. Quite interesting. takes time, but worth it. Thank you, Romo. I read a lot better with my glasses on, everybody. I don't know if you got to the point in your life where, you need glasses. I don't need glasses to see, but I do need glasses when I'm reading tiny print. But you think to yourself, oh, I don't need glasses. I don't have to put them on. And then you realize you do. And, so you put those suckers on and, the process of reading becomes a hell of a lot more enjoyable. I'll say that. I'm going to keep talking about it because I'm interested in it. To me, it's a big deal. But it seems like, and I said it last time, but there was a story today about how, the Big 12 basically came out and said, Cal, Stanford, no thank you. We're not interested. But it seems like the ACC is going to make that move. And from Cal and Stanford's perspective, I understand how it works financially, but as a student athlete, getting on a plane that much, not something that I would want to do. SG says, who was cast as the better Batman, Patterson? You know what? I have to give it up to, what was it, Pattinson? He did a hell of a job. But nobody's better than Christian Bale. I mean, I don't know why Christian Bale doesn't want to do another one. I get it. I mean, he's one of those guys. Pattinson, yeah. Robert Pattinson, I guess. He was a werewolf guy, right? He was good. I mean, I saw that Batman, and he was damn good. But Christian Bale to me is like Wesley Snipes as Nino Brown in New Jack City. I mean, some roles to me are made for certain actors. Denzel Washington in Training Day. I mean, can you imagine anybody being better than Denzel? Can you imagine anybody being better than Robert De Niro in Cape Fear? I don't think so. I think, and The Devil Wears Prada, Meryl Streep as, the real life portrayal of, I don't even really know her name, but the head of the fashion world. You guys get my point. I think certain roles are made for certain actors. What is that? What was that? The movie Hostilized with Christian Bale is fantastic. He's done a lot of good work. I mean, he's a brilliant actor. But I think even if he doesn't want to admit it, I think Batman has been his greatest feat as an actor to me. So I could talk about movies all day. It's something I like to do. I've told you before, I actually wrote a screenplay. And I'm going to start another one. But it took me a lot longer than some other folks. It took me about 3 years because I would step away from it. I would write it. It wound up being like 160 pages. I got it down to about 123, I think. But yeah, one of the great processes, one of the great things that I've done. Have you watched the movie, what is it, TikTok Boom? No, I haven't. Which tells the story of Jonathan Larson, who made the musical Rent. No, I haven't seen that. Is it pretty good? Said Batman, I don't wear hockey pants. Yeah. So, let me ask you guys a question. Have you guys ever seen a program like Deion Sanders' Colorado Buffaloes receive so much hype without winning a game? I mean, I'm wondering if they're setting him up to fail, because this is major college football. I think he's going to have an impact. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I mean, you would think that Colorado is like Ohio State or somebody. It's unbelievable. Yeah, they have good frontline players, but we all know the big boys are three deep at every position. I don't think Colorado is going to be that. I think if they went 500 this year, that would be phenomenal. Now, I'm sure they expect to maybe do better than that, but that would be a tremendous accomplishment and really set them up to have success in the future. So, we'll see what's up. It is 10:30, y'all. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. It's been a good show. I want to thank my man Dan, Coach Amelia, for stepping in here. And more importantly, I want to thank you all for stepping in the dungeon and supporting the program. I really appreciate it. If you have not hit the subscriber button, hit it. Because it helps the show and it helps us get to 100 subscribers, at which time we'll start to have more guests on the show. The Dan Coach Amelia deal was kind of a whim. I didn't know if he's gonna come on or not. Are you a fan of Harry Potter movies? I've never watched Harry Potter. But I heard it's pretty good. I actually know what it is, obviously, but no, I've been working, man. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. See you tomorrow night on the NorCal Sports Network. Yeah, I'm gonna step in for a little bit. I got to brush up on my Giant knowledge then, because I'm sure they'll be talking about that. All right, I'm gonna do my thing and get out of here. Success and getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things to help other people make their lives better, as far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. Until the next time, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you so much. Good night.